you are a Black American, you're trying to make things work out, but then you're always limited um you're hit by a roadblock that you don't even know how to maneuver. I was reading a story here, and it's actually talking about what happens when people like, especially Black Americans, retire, because most of us don't have long-term care. And what is going to happen? Again, most of the time we think we are going back home. We think we are going back to Africa. We think we are going back to Haiti. We think we are going back to Jamaica. To our dismay, we are here. And before you know it, you need long-term care. You actually need care. You get sick and you're still here. Now, I was reading a story and I'm looking at what really happens in those government facilities, right? Where we have Americans, real Americans who are Black, but they've not, they're there because it's a government facility. Everyone is there, but they face a lot of discrimination. And sorry, I want to share this so you can all see those on Zoom and those on YouTube, so you can understand what I'm saying and where I come from. Tell you this, I was reading this article, and they're saying African Americans, again, of course, have long faced discrimination, but when it comes to that time, when you are now an older person or you need care, it's a different story. It's way different. Data shows that racism is very much alive in assisted living and nursing care facilities throughout the country. Actually, a 2004 study indicates that 60%, listen to that, 60% of elderly people of color experience some level of discrimination while searching for a care facility. Now we are here, and again, many times we think, okay, when I get sick, maybe they'll take me home, right? We think when I get sick, my kids will take care of me. But I want also to remind you that much as you're thinking, maybe they'll take you home, you're thinking if I get old, my family will take me home. Okay. And then all your family is actually in America. So who is actually going to take care of you wherever you want to go? Apart from that, I want you to remember that by the time you're at that level, you're sick, because long-term care comes into play when you cannot perform activities of daily living. We are talking about a time when you cannot go to bathe by yourself. You need somebody to help you eat. You need somebody to help you take a bath. You need somebody around you. And you're here thinking that, okay, I'll go home. But you really can't support yourself at that point. And that's what we forget normally. We think we are going to go back to Africa, but you already can't take care of yourself. You're in a situation where you need somebody to take care of you. And guess what is going to happen? That's when they take you to the nursing home, a government nursing home where everyone is there. And guess what is happening? This is the statistics. Statistics are actually showing, statistics is showing that 60% of elderly people of color experience some level of discrimination, and that's a study that's showing that. Okay, and then another study actually conducted by the Commonwealth Fund indicated that 25% of Black and Latino or Hispanic adults aged 60 and above reported unfair treatment in healthcare or nursing home environments. Right? 25% of Black people who are in health, nursing care, healthcare or nursing home are experiencing unfair treatment. And again, that's why I'm here to remind you that you need to also think about what is going to happen at that point when you get sick. Because getting sick, you don't actually need to be 60. At my age, you can get sick and you need long-term care. So that's why it's very imperative. It's very important for us to start thinking. Start thinking, because now it's very cheap. It's rather cheaper when you're in your 30s than when you're in your 50s, because at any one point you will need the insurance. So I am looking at this story, and it's talking about the challenges African Americans face when looking for assisted living. And they said racism goes beyond simple stereotypes, and that's especially true for African American seniors seeking assisted living. From searching for an assisted living community that will prioritize admission to accessing the necessary benefits and programs to pay for care and ensuring for fair treatment within the facility, the challenges faced by these people are many, starting with what? Discrimination. So what's your plan? Again, if your plan is, okay, if I get sick, they take me to a nursing home, this is what is going to happen, most probably, right? So they're saying discrimination is a serious issue in the US, especially in the health and senior care. The Commonwealth Fund study mentioned earlier determined that more than 25% of US seniors felt that they were unable to access the care they needed due to discrimination. Okay? It also determined that those who did experience discrimination in the community did what? Actually died a little bit earlier because they feel they don't belong. Now, I want you to imagine you're in this situation, you're actually working very hard right now. You're taking care of everyone else, but you don't really have conclusive plan for yourself, right? You don't have a conclusive plan. What if I get sick today? What happens? What if I get disabled? What happens? You're not thinking about that, but you're working so hard, right? You're working so hard. And this is what this is what they're saying. There are several ways Black Americans experience discrimination. Community managers may assign lower priority to African American seniors. Healthcare providers may discriminate against Black seniors by delaying referrals or transfers of vital health information. Healthcare providers may believe stereotypes about African American patients, such as assuming that they drink alcohol, they smoke, or consume drugs. You see that in the African American society, even at our age, right? Now, I want you to imagine when you're 70 and you're in that you're in that facility, and the caregivers don't actually want to work on you because they think they still have that stereotype. Caregivers may be dismissive of African American seniors' health concerns, choosing not to take care of them seriously due to stereotypes about intelligence or education. They think you never went to school. They think you don't understand what they will tell you. And that's, that tells us a lot about facilities that we work in, that we give care to. Now, again, my question is, you're taking good care of everyone else. You go into those group homes or nursing homes and you take good care of those people. But what is going to happen to you when you're in need of that very care that you're giving somebody else? What is your plan? Right? Again, what is the other challenge is financial. While many Black Americans do well economically, others face severe financial challenges that are rooted in racism. And according to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, 21% of Black Americans live and have just 10 cents for every dollar of wealth that white Americans have. Imagine that. 25% just have 10 cents for every dollar that a white American has. Okay, so decades of racism have taken opportunities away from generations of Black Americans, resulting in a long-term economic imbalance and during their working years. And Black seniors in America may have to face discrimination. And then, of course, there is that. You can't, you can't just put that under the carpet. There is discrimination. There's going to be discrimination. Then what are you doing yourself? What are you doing to help yourself as a person, right? How are you considering planning? What's your plan? What if you get to that level where you're discriminated and you're facing a lot of a lot of discrimination as a person, right? Right now, when you still can work, when you still have the energy to go out there and do something, that's when you actually need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your 70-year-old person. If you're 30 today, if you're 20 today, if you're 40 today, this is the time to take care of your 70-year-old because it's very cheap. And guess what? You're still healthy. Okay. What else? We have cultural distrust. It's a challenge, right? Long-term systematic racism in the United States has led to decades of distrust among Black Americans. And what happens is when we get to that point now, we have a lot of distrust, and this makes it even harder for Black Americans to feel like they belong, right? And then it's a tradition in African American culture for women to provide care to aging parents, right, and other elders within their families. But according to the report done by AARP in 2020, the typical African American caregiver provides live-in care for an aging parent or grandparent who is approximately 65 years old. Furthermore, these caregivers typically work an average of 37.5 hours per week, and in many cases, care for children in the home as well. Many of these caregivers report various financial consequences that occur as a result of caregiving, including the inability to save money for retirement or pay bills, as well as increased debt. Because I want you to imagine you're taking care of your parent, you're worried about their health, but you're still worried about your kids' college. You're still worried about bills. You've not paid your rent because you're taking care of your parent, right? Now, you are the parent right now, okay? And those kids that you're taking care of are also going to be in your position tomorrow. And what would you want them to do? Would you want them to take care of their bills? Or would you want them to take care of you? It's a crisis, right? It's a crisis, and it's happening. It's coming. Okay, so that's why we say that once you understand that you have to take care of yourself, you have to take care of your own, take charge of your own long-term care when you're still alive, when you're still healthy. Okay, then this obligation, because now I'm telling you about a situation where your kids have to think, do I take care of my mother or do I take care of my kids? Do I pay my rent or I take care of my mother? Okay? So this obligation can lead to a vicious cycle of Black Americans being unable to access and afford long-term care. So as the burden of caring for a senior loved one negatively impacts their caregiver's economic situation, what is going to happen? They're forced to rely on their own children. Okay? Because now they don't have at my age, I'm taking care of my parents, I'm taking care of my kids. And guess what? It's going to happen. When I now get to that age, my kids will have to take care of me, but they also have their kids. And that's a vicious cycle of poverty, vicious cycle of, people cannot afford long-term care. And it also happens to our kids. So that's why I'm saying the purpose of this call is again to remind us of the importance of taking care of our late years when you get sick, right? So how do you manage guilt when moving a loved one to assisted living? Because now they need to take you to an assisted living, right? Because they have to take care of their own children. They have to take care of the bills. They don't have any choice but to take you into an assisted living. The cultural obligations discussed earlier can equate to extreme guilt among family caregivers who choose to relocate their senior loved ones into an assisted living. While feelings of guilt are normal for any caregiver, these emotions may exacerbate for African American, right? And what you're thinking, you're concerned about the discrimination of of that elderly person, your parent who you're sending away into it's as if you're sending them into a den. So what happens now? You're worried about your mother, and so you're feeling guilty. It's as if you didn't really take care of them, but you don't have any choice. And that is going to happen to us, or even worse. You know why? Right now, my parents still have their friends, right? So if I send my parents back home, their friends are probably have not left the village. They're still there. They can take care of them. They see them every single day. They relate with them. Now, time is going to come when it is us, okay, who are old now, and we need long-term care. We need to take care. We need somebody to take care of us, and we have to either choose to go back to Africa or wherever we come from, or stay here. But now, at that point in Africa, because just look at wherever you come from, you will realize that everyone is looking for a visa to get to America, to get to Europe, you get to Canada, right? Everyone is looking for a visa. Now, time might come when when everyone is a stranger. I want you to imagine you've lived in America for 30 years. Everyone that you know is actually living in Canada, America, UK. Well, everyone left, and you're there with new people, right? New people that you don't have any single connection with, and you're sick. That's why I am saying you have to plan. You have to have a plan that, okay, what happens? Am I going to pay these people to take care of me? Do you have that money? Okay. So that's why assisted living is often a safe and beneficial option for seniors, but you also need to have the money to take care of you. If at one point, I guarantee you, time is going to come when your kids are telling you that you cannot go back to Africa, ma'am, because we are all here. Who is going to take care of you in Africa? You have to be here. Now you have no choice, but you're going to live in America by force, literally by force, because your kids telling you do so. And of course, you also see that it's very important to be here. And now, what is going to happen? You don't know who is going to take care of you, because even when they are telling you to stay, they cannot still get all the time to take care of you, and you're in your home, alone and frightened at that point, right? So what do you do then? That's when you seek spiritual guidance. You don't know what is awaiting for you. So again, that's why we say you have to take care of your own future. You have to think about what happens if time is up and I need to be taken care of. What if I get sick? And like I said before, getting sick does not require you to be 60 years old. getting sick can be at this age, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s. You can still get sick and you need long-term care. So what is your plan? That's very important. Think about a plan where you're going to have, you're going to have that care you're looking for. Again, if you look at these statistics, they are saying 70%, nearly 70% of those turning 65 today are expected to need some type of long-term care services in their remaining years. Okay, you're not 65, no problem. But what's your prayer? Are you praying to live longer or to die soon? Because if you pray to live longer, there are higher chances that you get to 65. And then when you get to 65, what will happen? Will you pray you die? So that's why I'm saying you have to take care of yourself, your future today. That's why I'm saying you have to think about 3 years. You will need, on average, person needs long-term care for 3 years on average, minimum, right? I remember when my grandpa got sick and I had to take care of him. But I was in Africa. I was young, I was a young boy. I didn't really have a lot to do. Okay. But that is going to happen to you while you're in America, which is very fast paced. But what is your plan? So, what if um, what if you get sick again? What is going to happen? So, this is how to comprehend the long-term care. How does it work, right? So, you first of all are certified that you're chronically ill, and who certifies that? A licensed healthcare practitioner. And then plan of care is described and approved by that licensed healthcare practitioner. And then there is a proof of loss for some companies like Transamerica. Some other companies, you don't really need proof of loss. As long as the healthcare practitioner says, okay, this person needs long-term care and they've been like this for the last 90 days. Okay, there is what we call an 90-day elimination period that must be met. So normally what we mean is you're sick for 90 days, you cannot perform activities of daily living, then what is going to happen is insurance will now start giving you money. It will send you a check every single month. And that's how long-term care works. Long-term care basically is you're sick critically, rather chronically. You cannot perform 2 of these activities of daily living, including birth, continence, dressing, eating, toileting, and transferring. So if you get to a point when you cannot perform these and a healthcare practitioner certifies that, and they see there is that elimination period of 90 days, now the insurance company is going to start sending you money every single month. And that explains why you can go to somebody's home, take care of them, and they still pay you even when they're not working. I normally tell people you have to think about what happens. Where do they get money from? It's long-term care. Okay, it's long-term care. So what happens is if you're certified as chronically ill, then the doctor is going to give you a plan of care. Okay, and then you submit the claim. After 90 days, the claim is approved, and the insurance company is going to start sending you money every single month. Okay? Now, it's up to you to choose where your care is provided. Most people prefer to receive care while at home rather than in a facility. I would prefer that, but hey, am I able to afford it? Right? Most of us have prefer that, oh, if I get sick, I really would like for people to take care of me when I am home. Yes, that's good. But question is, can you afford it? What's your plan? Okay, so the comprehensive long-term care insurance rider from Transamerica, or it could be from Nationwide. We have one from One America. We have another one from. We have one from. You know, Expedia. We have different companies that provide long-term care. But again, you just have to think that once you get sick, okay, what is going to happen? If once there is a plan of care, then the insurance company is going to start sending you money. By the way, comprehensive long-term care insurance claim benefits do not cover informal care received outside the 50 years, but you can still get if it's formal care, okay, or informal care for some other companies. This is specifically Transamerica, but for some other companies like Nationwide, even if it's formal care, you still get money. So let's say you get to a point and say, okay, I've retired, I've gone back to Africa, I want to live my life, and boom, before you know it, you get sick. What is going to happen? You need somebody to take care of you. Now, what all you need to do is get a US licensed healthcare practitioner to assess and certify that you're actually sick and you need long-term care. In 3 months are done. Guess what? Insurance is going to start sending you money to your US bank account. So you don't have to worry what happens if I go home and I had this policy. Don't worry about that. Okay. And then, so what is not covered again, out of the long-term care, what is normally not covered is if, let's say, you don't qualify for long-term care services, if the treatment is from alcoholism or drug addiction, you don't qualify. Okay? If it's drug addiction or alcoholism, no, they won't pay. If it's resulting from attempted suicide or intentional self-inflicted injury, they're not going to pay. Okay? If it's resulting from participation in a felony, riot, or insurrection, they're not going to pay. If there is no charges normally made in the absence of insurance, if you're not included, let's say if long-term care was not included there, then you can't have it, right? You can't have it. And then if it's not included in your plan of care also, you can't have it. But I was talking about the insurance, because sometimes many people have life insurance, but they don't have long-term care on it. So that means even when you have a long-term, when you have a life insurance policy, an index universal life at that matter, you don't have long-term care if you didn't get it at the inception. Okay, and then if it's provided in a government facility unless otherwise required by law or under any government programs except Medicare or Medical, then you cannot apply for long-term care, or you do not qualify. And then paid or payable under Medicare or under any state or federal workers' compensation, employers liability or occupational disease law, or any motor vehicle no fault law, then you might not qualify for long-term care. So that's why it's very important for you to get long-term care before you get into these all these, wiki workers, right? So the comprehensive long-term care insurance rider and offer the policy owner control. The control to choose a monthly long-term care benefit amount to help cover monthly expenses incurred for qualified long-term care services, or to leave as much as or as little of the death benefit to the beneficiaries. You choose how much you need, even when you qualify for, let's say, for example, let's say you have 500,000 policy, right? You have a life insurance worth 500,000. That means you have, if you have the rider on, that means you have 500 worth long-term care. So the insurance company is going to pay you Okay, but you determine because 500,000, 2% of that would be 10,000 every month, but you don't really have to take 10,000. Okay, so that would just be the maximum. So the insurance company would pay you would pay you whatever you want. Maximum is 10,000. You can say, okay, you know what? I don't really want to use a lot of my money because I might get sick again, for long. So maybe instead of taking 10,000 every month, let me take 5,000. That's your call. Okay, that's what they are trying to tell you here. And of course, if they do the comprehensive long-term care rider, all allows the flexibility to adjust the amount. And the comprehensive long-term care rider benefits will be paid monthly in the amount selected, regardless of the actual dollar amount of long-term care expenses incurred. So regardless of how much you use in long-term care, they are going to give you whatever you apply for, whatever you want to receive. And remember, this money is coming to you tax-free. Long-term care money comes to you tax-free. It's an income that is coming to you to help you once you're sick, and you don't have to pay any penny in taxes. Okay, so the minimum is $500. That's how much you can access, and the maximum is any lesser of 2% of the long-term care specified amount of the daily amount allowed, and the and the upper of the what we call the daily per diem, the per diem or under HIPAA. Okay, so let's say, for example, currently under HIPAA, you can only take 12,600 in long-term care tax-free. Okay, but let's say you have $1 million in life insurance and you want to convert that into long-term care, you still qualify and so the 2% would be 20,000. But the only amount that is not going to pay taxes is the 12,600. So if you elect to take 20,000, then no problem. The difference is going to pay taxes. Okay? But you can just keep the money there, and let's say you say, okay, you know what? I'm not taking all the money. I'm simply taking $12,600, and I want to keep getting until my 1 million is done, or whatever you have in, because now at that point, whatever you have in cash value plus the death benefit is now how much you have in long-term care. Okay, so that's very important to also understand. And what else do you need to know? You probably need to know that the minimum comprehensive long-term care rider specified amount is 100,000. That's the minimum you can purchase. Okay, that's if you're buying life insurance and you're looking at long-term care as a rider. So the minimum you can get is 100,000, and it must be equal to the best policy's face amount elected at the time of application. Okay, so the maximum comprehensive long-term care insurance rider is cannot exceed 2 million. So as a rider, you can only take up to 2 million. Should the policy owner elect to decrease the best policy face amount, this will result in decrease of the comprehensive long-term care insurance rider specified amount as well. So no increases to the best policy's face amount will be allowed. Okay. What if you no longer need the comprehensive long-term care insurance rider? You may cancel anytime. Okay, you can cancel anytime. But who would, that would be crazy. But of course, if it's what you want, it's your call. And so at any time, your life insurance protection will still remain in force, but you've only, because again, that rider, you have to pay for it. You're paying a few dollars, probably like $5 or $10, depending on, your age and the state and all that. So you still have to pay for that rider, but telling you it's very much worth paying for that rider on that insurance. And how do you submit a claim? Again, you submit a claim form within 15 days of receiving a notice of claim. And when they receive that, the necessary documents, an assessment of your condition will be performed in person by a licensed healthcare practitioner that the company selects, and then they will arrange to at no cost, not on your cost, the company's cost. They recommend that you submit the plan of care and proof of loss of documentation in the case of Transamerica. But like I said, we also have companies like Nationwide, companies like Pacific Life, where you don't actually have to give all that paperwork. And probably in the future, Transamerica will also not allow that. But again, the big point is, how much am I having to take care of me in case I get sick, in case I cannot live? I am struggling, right? So once again, like I've said, we also have nationwide. Nationwide has what we call nationwide care matters together. That's a good policy for a couple. You can actually have long-term care as a couple. Okay. So for this policy, the shared pool of funds helps to eliminate the guesswork of who is more likely to need care and when, because you don't know. So as a couple, you can actually get just that care matters together, and you won't need to submit monthly bills and receipts. And you'll always know what your premium and benefits will be because both are guaranteed. And if neither of you ever need long-term care, the guaranteed death benefit will pass to your loved ones. Okay, income tax free. They're not going to pay taxes while getting that money. And the full amount monthly benefit is sent directly to the policy owner with no restrictions from nationwide on how it's used. And the long-term care cash benefit can be used for more traditional care services or for informal care from the families and or friends and family members, as well as for other expenses that can help you remain in the home you love longer. Because I personally am thinking, what if I get sick? I wouldn't really want to be taken care of in a nursing home. I'm imagining I want to be in my home. I want somebody to come take care of me, just like I used to go to people's homes to take care of them, but who takes care of me? That's why it's very important for me to understand that I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my future. So long-term care includes a variety of services that can help you lose the ability to independently perform at least 2 out of 6 activities of daily living. And again, many people think that, oh, I have health insurance, so I'm good. No, health plans you depend on for other medical concerns often aren't sufficient to cover long-term care costs. So health insurance doesn't cover any long-term care expenses. People don't know that. That's why I keep emphasizing it so people understand. Because many times people think, oh, when I get sick, I have health insurance. No, health insurance is not going to pay for that. That's very important to understand. Medicare may cover a portion of long-term care expenses, but only up to 100 days. Now, are you going to get sick for 90 days? Again, I don't know, right? It requires a 3 consecutive days stay in a hospital under treatment, as well as other qualifiers for you to qualify for Medicare to take care of you. But the question is, I don't know whether you will actually only get sick for 100 days. That's 3 months. You might get sick, for 5 years. Okay. And then Medicaid covers long-term expenses for individuals with countable assets, okay, 2,000 or less, and varies by state. Care may be limited to a nursing home. You might not be able to choose where you receive care. So when you're waiting for the government, first of all, you have to make sure you're very poor, okay? And number two, you cannot choose where to take care from. You don't choose because at that point you don't really have money. So the government is going to plan for you. Okay, so this is very important. Again, I am very concerned about long-term care and what is going to happen in the near future when we get to a level when we who are coming to America right now at this age are old. We are coming with our families, we are making families here. What is going to happen when you get old and you get sick? You might not even get old because statistics show that 17% of people that are getting long-term care actually under the age of 65. So what is going to happen? Again, it's a question for you to answer. Okay, so that's why I come here every single time and remind you that hey, this is very important. Long-term care actually matters. Okay? People are living longer. It's a way to look out for each other. Okay? Having a plan is a simple way to help ensure that your partner is protected, whether as a caregiver or a care recipient. Okay, so you don't want your partner to get frustrated taking care of you because you as a family you're broke and she has to take care of you. So people are living longer. The longer we live, the more likely it is that we shall need long-term care. Okay, and it's an important part of retirement planning. So having a plan for addressing these potential costs can help protect your retirement assets and income and protect the physical and emotional health of the caregiving spouse with funds to pay for care and protect the lifestyle of surviving family members, protect your legacy. That's very important also. So that's why I always keep emphasizing and making you understand what long-term care is and why you need it. Again, if you're on TikTok, please just inbox me so we can go through the long-term care options that you have. Again, I'm reminding you, you need to look into long-term care at your young age because it's going to be cheaper. Otherwise, it's going to be expensive and you won't like it. Okay. So thank you very much to me tonight. Michael Kakanda is my name, 781-363-5258 is my number. 781, I can repeat that, 781-363-5258 is my number that you can call and we go through your long-term care numbers and we see what can you do for yourself. Otherwise, it's very important for you because you are the engine. You work a lot. You don't want to get sick and you struggle. You don't want to get sick and you have to beg somebody to come give you food, to come give you whatever you need. You don't want to get sick and you start begging. And yet when you were healthy, you were working so hard. Okay, so that concludes my session tonight. Again, reach out and let's see what we can do together to help, to help take care of your future. Right? God bless you and have a good night.